We are a smart electric scooter company. What does that mean? All of our scooters are connected to the web, and we've been doing this since 2014. But before I get started, give you some perspective. China, last year, sold 26 million electric scooters, the entire market, okay? Big, very, very big. So everyone thinks that the future of electric is happening here in Europe, or maybe the United States or elsewhere, but in fact, it's happening in Asia, all right? So 26 million electric scooters being sold every year. New jumped into this space in 2014 with a sketch, and by 2015, 1 year later, we were launching all through e-commerce by August of that year. And within the past 2.5 years, we've become the largest smart scooter company in the world by sales. But we're not a moto company. We start as a technology company. If you come look at my name card, it says new technologies on it, and we start up at the cloud and we work our way back down to the bikes. All of our technology just happens to be wrapped in a motor scooter. In the future, who knows what it'll be wrapped in. In the past 2 years, with just 3 models, mostly online, we've sold 330,000 scooters. Actually, the data I just looked at the other day, we have about 365,000 scooters. We're producing 25,000 electric scooters every single month right now, okay? The importance of this is the scale, and the scale that allows us to grow, learn from our sales, learn from our scooters that are on the roads, to be able to build for global markets. So we started with a scooter that looked like this. This is the N. It started online sales. $11 million worth of these scooters were sold in about 15 days. A year later, bing, it might work. We sold the M, again online, a little bit smaller. We sold about 24,000 units, $13 million worth of scooters in another online crowdfunding campaign, making it the 6th or 7th largest crowdfunding campaign in the world up until that time. All of this was happening online. We were disrupting an entire industry of electric scooters in China, all online. Some of the quick features about what a smart electric scooter is, because not everyone in here knows what that means. You can plug this scooter in to the wall, just like you plug it in, your computer in. Or you can take out the battery and plug it in as well. So every battery is 8 to 10 kilograms, depending on what model you're working with. It takes about 6 hours to charge. Optimal riding will get you about 80 kilometers in some of our bikes, 60 in others. And all of this is built around a lithium-ion battery. All of our batteries, the battery cells are the same thing that you would see in a Tesla, so it's Panasonic batteries. We work with Bosch, not to just buy our motors, but to create the motors. So a lot of the motors that you see driving around Europe right now, or actually in China as well, that have a Bosch sticker on it, I can actually tell you that we were part of the creation of that motor. So we're not just out here trying to plug and play with some parts and build the next scooter for the world. We're actually kind of building from the ground up where this space needs to go. We work with Panasonic for all their lithium-ion cells, import it directly from Japan. That's important. We design the entire battery pack, and then we work with Vodafone for all of our connectivity outside of China. All right, so this brand connection was extremely important in China. We also believe it's going to be extremely important in Europe in terms of how we work with our partners, the brand recognition of it, and the importance of building a great quality product. Because as we all know, a lot of people sitting in this room, when they think about Chinese product, they definitely don't connect it with the most superior product in the world. So by choosing these partners and these partners choosing us, we're making a statement saying we want to build some of the best product that's moving around the world. Besides working with great partners, we hire some of the best people in the world. Our head of design comes from BMW Design Works. Our head of branding and global marketing comes from Xiaomi, the mobile phone maker. So again, it gives you a whole different sense of what you expect out of a Chinese company. Now, earlier I said we launched these scooters online. We did it for 2 reasons. Number one, we didn't have the infrastructure in place to be able to open up a network in China on the ground. Number 2, that's where millennial customers were buying. We wanted to create a product and have a marketplace that allowed customers to find us online and allow us to find them wherever they were in China. So working with JD.com allowed us to explode our growth kind of out of nowhere with actually no infrastructure in place. Every single one of our first almost 100,000 scooters was packed up in a box and shipped to your house directly. So if you can deliver a refrigerator, you can definitely deliver a scooter. All right? So people in Europe always come to me and say, there's no way you can deliver a scooter. I say, aren't people buying, refrigerators and washing machines on Amazon and other e-commerce sites? And they are. So when you just wrap your head around it, it is very, very much possible. In the past year, we went from 0 retail to 400 stores right now across China. In Europe, we're selling in over 500 stores. We're already here. In China, all of our stores are one new retail experience. So you think of a Tesla and an Apple store with scooters inside of it. We've gone from 0 to 400. We'll go to 1,000 stores by next year. Give you scale. Those 330,000 units, it's important because actually you make some of your first mistakes in this space in your first 10 to 30,000 scooters sold. Now by 330,000, it's great. We have we have lots of scooters moving around the world. It gives us a lot of information. And we've collected data now, actually it's closing in on 700 million kilometers. We're moving so rapidly with the amount of scooters that are entering the market that the data is all getting shot up into the cloud. Users can download an app and see where their bike is at any one time. But more importantly, we're taking a look at the data. There we go. We're taking a look at the data in real time. This is rush hour in China last week. You can see some of the hot spots, just our scooters, obviously. Some of the hot spots up in the north being Beijing and Shanghai. But the important part about this, everyone asks me, what are you doing with the data? And what we're doing with it right now is very similar to what Tesla and other smart cars are doing, is we're crunching that data and actually making the bikes better. So when you buy a scooter today, a month later, you'll get a message sent to your phone saying, hey, do you want to do an over-the-air update? You can confirm yes, and you can download the new firmware to improve it. So our whole mission actually is not just to create the next moto, but to create the next smart moto that is able to kind of connect with the user habits. And so that data looks like that in a nice visualized format. But this is what the new community actually looks like in China. It's like the Harley Davidson of scooters, more or less. These communities create themselves all inside the app or inside WeChat or Weibo or whatever it might be. And this stuff really happens. I mean, I ride around Beijing and I'll run into a group of like 6 people on a Sunday afternoon and they just stop me and say hello because I'm also on my scooter. So there's this real community around the brand. But more importantly, what's really cool about the new community is that there was this untapped customer in China. I told you at the beginning of this conversation that 26 million electric scooters are sold every year. The important piece of data that's up on the screen is that 54% of our customers are buying a electric scooter for the very first time. Why? It's because for the past 10 years of electric scooters in China, there was never a product that really met their needs. They were looking for something that was kind of like an iPhone, maybe a Samsung, a Xiaomi, that looked cool, fit into their personality, was a technology tool, and they could feel proud riding. And we believe this same type of customer exists globally. And now it's my mission in the international role to kind of unlock this. Some other really cool pieces of data is 1/3 of our customers own a car. Why? Traffic. Just like the traffic that we talk about here in Europe, the same thing is, if not worse, exponentially worse inside China as well. And 60% of our customers live in major metro areas. Right now, most customers in China for scooters are outside or in non-urban areas, and the same thing is true in Europe as well. And we seek to try to transform this. I have less than a minute left, but let me wrap it up, is 26 million electric scooters are sold in China every year. How many do you think were sold in Europe last year? 10,000, actually less than 10,000. People, that is scary. That is seriously scary. There's 800 million people in Greater Europe. China, population, 1.4 billion, 26 million scooters. Europe, population 800 million, we have to wake up. And that's why New decided, looking at a couple other pieces of data, 65 hours we're spending in traffic, an hour and a half on the metro, and a third of all greenhouse gases are coming from our public transportation, our scooters, and our cars. And we said, we have to bring our solution global. And that's why I'm sitting here talking to you today, not as an advertisement, but as a wake-up call. I want more electric scooter companies coming to the market. I want more media talking about this because this is one part of a major solution to our urban transportation problems, tapping into this young millennial customer that wants new forms of transportation, and more importantly, fixing the major problems that sit out in front of us today. So thank you very much. I'm going to come back up and answer some questions after Samar gives his little bit of presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Joseph.